It's a cold, overcast morning when Thomas Bennett arrives at the cemetery. The billionaire, once so commanding in boardrooms, now moves with the slow, heavy steps of a man burdened by loss. He emerges from his sleek black car, a stark contrast to the worn gravel path leading to his son's grave. In his hand he holds white lilies, his son's favorite flower, the only offering he can give now. The wind bites at his face, but he barely feels it, numb to everything except the weight in his chest. As he walks, memories churn like a storm in his mind. He sees flashes of his boy as a child, laughing on the beach during family vacations, hair tousled by the wind. He remembers helping him learn to ride a bike, holding the seat with trembling fear before letting go. But those gentle memories darken quickly. He can't forget the last time they spoke, an argument in his office where harsh words were exchanged like weapons. His son had accused him of caring more about money than family, and Thomas, wounded and prideful, had shouted back that he was ungrateful. That was the last time he saw him alive. Now every visit to the cemetery is an act of penance. He comes every week without fail, hoping somehow the grave will answer him, that he might hear a voice forgiving him. He kneels before the polished stone and carefully places the lilies there, adjusting them even as tears blur his vision. He whispers an apology he's spoken countless times, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't know it would be the last time." The words catch in his throat, raw and desperate. All the wealth in the world can't buy him back a single moment, can't erase the pain he sees every time he closes his eyes. His empire feels like ashes in his mouth. Business partners call him a genius, a titan of industry. But here he is, just a father who failed the one person who mattered most. The cemetery is quiet except for the wind rattling the dead leaves. No one else is around, and Thomas feels painfully alone. He presses a shaking hand to the cold stone, willing it to give him some sign. When nothing comes, he lowers his head in defeat. He doesn't expect forgiveness anymore. He comes because he needs to say it, even if there's no one left to hear. In this silent ritual of regret, he seeks a small measure of peace, though it never truly comes. As Thomas approaches the familiar grave, he notices something that makes him stop short. Someone else is there. A young woman, her hair damp from the mist, kneels before the headstone in a thin, worn-out coat that's no match for the cold. Her shoulders shake with sobs she tries to muffle with one gloved hand. Beside her stands a little boy, no older than 5, hugging a threadbare stuffed rabbit to his chest. His wide eyes look at Thomas with confusion and fear. For a moment Thomas is too stunned to speak. This place is always empty when he comes. He clears his throat, the sound loud in the quiet cemetery, trying to make sense of the scene. The woman jumps at the noise, startled, and quickly wipes her tears away, avoiding his gaze as if ashamed to be caught grieving at a stranger's grave. He fumbles for words, his voice tight. "Can I ask, why are you here?" It comes out harsher than he intends, edged with the discomfort of seeing a stranger at such a private spot. The woman hesitates, biting her lip, glancing down at the little boy who clutches her leg. She takes a breath, trying to steady herself, and finally speaks in a trembling voice. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I come here sometimes to thank him." Thomas blinks in confusion. "Thank him? You knew my son?" She nods slowly, tears welling again despite her effort to stop them. "I was pregnant. Alone. I had nothing. Your son, he helped me. Paid my rent so I wouldn't be out on the street. He didn't even know me, really. He just saw me crying in the diner and wanted to help. He saved my life." Her voice breaks on those last words, and she covers her mouth to stifle a sob. Thomas feels his heart clench painfully. He had never known this about his son. He'd spent so long focused on what went wrong between them that he never imagined the good his son did quietly, for strangers. He looks at the child, his big eyes watching, innocent and curious, and feels a strange, heavy warmth in his chest. The wind rustles the dead leaves around them. Thomas swallows hard, realizing he's seeing his son's legacy in the most unexpected way, in the tears of a grateful mother and the small, fragile hope of the boy at her side. Thomas stands frozen, his gaze locked on the woman as she struggles to speak. Her lips tremble, and her eyes glisten with tears she can't hold back. She looks at her child, then back at Thomas, as if gathering the last of her courage. Her voice breaks when she finally says, There's something I need to tell you. I didn't come here just to thank him." Thomas feels a chill crawl up his spine. He watches her wipe her tears with shaking hands. "What is it?" he asks, his voice low and uncertain. She draws a deep breath and glances at the boy clutching the rabbit. Her fingers brush through his hair gently before she forces the words out. "He's your grandson." The words hit Thomas like a punch to the chest. He stares at her, stunned, unable to process what he's heard. His mouth opens, but no sound comes out. She continues, her voice cracking with grief and shame. "Your son, he was kind to me. We weren't anything serious, it just happened. He never even knew I was pregnant. He died before I could tell him. I never asked for anything. I didn't want to ruin your lives. I wanted him to know. I wanted him to know his father wasn't a bad man." Thomas staggers back a step, feeling the world tilt under his feet. His cane slips slightly on the wet ground and he grips it hard. His vision blurs with tears he refuses to let fall. For so many years, he had blamed himself for pushing his son away. He had replayed their last cruel argument 1,000 times. He'd thought his son left with nothing but anger between them. But now he saw that his son left something behind. Something pure. A small life, standing there with big, searching eyes. His grandson. His own blood, his son's face in miniature, right here in front of him. Thomas's chest aches with a confusing flood of emotions, grief, relief, regret, wonder. He thought he'd lost everything of his son forever, but here was proof that his boy had loved, had been good, had made sure someone else survived. He takes a shaking breath, his eyes fixed on the child who clings to the rabbit and peeks shyly at him. Thomas feels the weight of all his failures, but for the first time in years, he also feels hope flicker in his heart. Thomas feels his heart pounding painfully in his chest as he looks at the little boy. Overcome by emotion, he lowers himself slowly, carefully, onto one knee until he's at eye level with the child. His expensive coat gathers dirt, but he doesn't care. He's too busy blinking back tears. He studies the boy's face, the round cheeks, the shy, worried eyes that dart to his mother for reassurance. There's something achingly familiar there. His son's eyes. His son's quiet, thoughtful expression. Thomas's breath catches. With a trembling hand, he reaches out, palm open, voice cracking as he asks gently, "What's your name, son?" The boy hesitates, squeezing the rabbit tighter. He glances at his mother, who gives a tiny nod. The child looks back at Thomas and whispers his name so softly it's almost lost in the wind. Thomas repeats it aloud, tasting the syllables like something sacred, a gift he never expected. Slowly, the boy extends his small hand and places it in Thomas's. The billionaire closes his fingers around it carefully, as if afraid to break something so delicate. His tears spill over then, leaving tracks on his weathered face. The warmth of that tiny hand seems to burn away years of cold isolation and regret. He looks up at the mother, at the waitress who had been so afraid to tell him the truth. She's watching with tears of her own, face pale with worry and embarrassment. He sees the shame in her eyes when she starts to speak. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I didn't mean to bring this on you. I'm not asking for anything. We're okay. We'll be okay. I wanted you to know." Thomas shakes his head fiercely. His voice is ragged but certain. No. Please. Let me help you. Let me help him. Let me give him what my son would have given if he'd known. She tries to protest again, voice breaking with fear of charity or pity, but Thomas grips the boy's hand tighter, grounding himself in that connection. Please, he says, voice low and raw. Not for me. For him. Let me do this for my son. Let me do this for you both. Silence falls between them, thick with unspoken pain and the chance for something new. Slowly, the woman nods, tears streaming freely. Thomas feels a rush of relief and something like peace. For the first time in years, the heavy chains of his guilt loosen. In this fragile promise, he finds a way to begin making amends, not to the grave that can't answer back, but to the living legacy his son unknowingly left behind. The wind has settled into a gentle breeze as they prepare to leave the cemetery. Thomas stands slowly, his old knees protesting, but he doesn't let go of the boy's hand. The child clings to his stuffed rabbit with one arm and Thomas's hand with the other, looking up at him with cautious trust. Beside them, the young woman wipes her eyes and takes a deep, steadying breath. Thomas offers her his free arm, and after a moment of hesitation, she slips her hand through it. It's a small gesture, but it feels enormous, an unspoken agreement to walk this uncertain road together. The three of them begin the slow walk back down the gravel path, leaving the cold headstone behind. As they walk, Thomas feels the years of loneliness pressing less heavily on his shoulders. The graveyard, once a place of torment and regret, seems softer now, as if the very ground recognizes the shift in his heart. He glances down at the boy, whose small steps work hard to keep pace, and then over at the woman, whose eyes are still red but clearer, more determined. They reach the car, a sleek, intimidating machine that once symbolized everything Thomas cared about too much. Today it's just a way to get them home, wherever that might turn out to be. He opens the door for them and watches the boy climb in, rabbit in tow, eyes wide with cautious wonder. Before he joins them, Thomas pauses and turns back to look at the grave. The lilies he laid there nod in the breeze. His throat tightens as he whispers, voice trembling but resolute. I'm sorry, son. I should have been better. I promise. I'll do better now. For you. The wind seems to carry his words, and though there's no answer, he feels lighter, as if something has finally shifted inside him. He wipes a tear from his cheek, but this time there's the hint of a smile beneath it. He turns and climbs into the car, closing the door gently. As they drive away, the child's hand finds his again. Thomas squeezes it, the warmth of that small touch filling a void he thought would never heal. In that moment, he's no longer just a billionaire defined by empty deals and silent mansions. He's a grandfather. He's family. He's proof that even the deepest wounds can begin to heal, and that compassion, offered freely, humbly, can build something new where sorrow once lived.